Hey everyone, Sakurai-san here, and welcome to another episode of Pointy Chins, where I take you through my art journey. So, here I feel like there was a degree of improvement when it came to confidence. I started doing some studies. It was a study of an artist, but I forget who. I couldn't find the name of the artist, and then this was from Joe Mad. Joe Mad. Mad is like short for Madureira, and I don't know how to pronounce it. It's just from, I think it was called Ultimates the comic, and then so this one, and then some are like these are from Imagination. The rest are pretty much Imagination, but there is an improvement when I use him as a reference. So keeping things sort of cartoony, playing around with that big head thing that I mentioned a bunch of times. And here's another, Joe Mad study. I just think the way he handles things is so good. It feels like you feel like tension in the folds and physics and energy and dynamism. So he's really one of my favorite people to look at when it comes to making dynamic, energetic images. So these are, again, study, and this one's Imagination, and yeah, this one's study, this one's Imagination. It's clearly much weaker. But maybe one day it won't be such a big difference. So here I have, again, trying to keep some of the energy of what I saw. I have some Xeon images that from Affinity. Still playing around with the character. And then there's this one, kind of like this guy. The pose is not so great, but overall, it's okay. Some kind of Spawn thing. And I was experimenting with things like pushing the face very horizontal. So this one, it's a bit more pushed, but this one is more like stretched. I mean, I hope you can see it. Getting this shape for the head. It's not quite an oval anymore. It's like, it gets sharp at the end. I've been doing this for a while, but just getting better at it, I feel. And this is another case of a pushed horizontal thing, and then getting a curve. See, from here to here, like a C curve. And this is going in the opposite direction, but feels strong. I think when you do these types of things, reduce things to very basic gestures really can help. Trying to do the foreshortened hand. Playing around with characters, thinking a lot at this point about necks. What I started noticing is that when you put the neck straight up and down, it looks really bad. And usually most people don't really have their neck in that position. It's either forward or rather their chest is going back, like their spine is bending this way in this type of C direction, or in the opposite, that way. And so tried to do that more with the necks in terms of making sure they either follow one of those two rhythms where it's coming forward and the body's going back, or the body's coming forward and the neck straightens out a bit more. And I feel like it helped. Seemed to be something that I was missing. It brings life to things, and it connects things. Like, let's say I created this character before, and if I just stick the neck here, like a straight neck, and he's got this straight head, it will start to kill the gesture because it's very straight on straight. But then this way, you get this nice S curve that flows right into the body. Which, I mean, probably if I studied other artists, I would have figured out a long time ago. But, being the person I am takes me forever to figure out the smallest things. Yeah, but even here, see, like, get this type of S and this S shape by having the body and then the head. So if you think, even if you forget the neck as part of anything, you just get the head and put the body in. Is it behind the head or in front of the head? And then connect it. And I think it creates much more interest. And then figures again, trying to keep rhythms down and energy. I'm still putting in most of the muscles just because it's more like a study type thing. Can I place the muscles correctly? Because otherwise I tend to eliminate them. And this guy, I don't know what's this, but that's pretty amusing. So here's that thing, what I was talking about, more like a straight up and down neck that's not quite as good. And then this is coming forward more, and then this is where the body's going forward, and then it's more straight. But because the body's doing this, it feels confident and powerful and good. As opposed to this guy, who's like, his head's sticking way up and just like, whoa. So, yeah, I like how that works. Just some weird foreshortening things. And this guy too, kind of like this guy, looks like a monkey dude, like the hand and the feet gestures and the legs, and pretty much most of it seems to be okay. I have no idea what's going on. This is not really powerful. Like, I wanted to just have a very basic shape here and then a basic shape here, but it doesn't feel strong. It doesn't feel right in some way. So that's, something I'm still trying to work on, trying to figure out, well, how do you make these poses work? And then playing around with body sizes here, like, it's gotten ridiculously thin in the waist, but I still like it. I think it works just fine. It's up to you to exaggerate things as much as you want, and I find it's okay. For me anyway, I like super thin, skinny waist and huge shoulders and chest and stuff. It's kind of cool to me. I like this character too. There's good movement here. It feels very flowy. And then this one I like because it feels like, and I have this problem in the past, but I'm getting better at getting the form, the volume of the chest, as opposed to it being very flat, because oftentimes I've had an issue with things being way too flat in terms of volumes. Doing some case studies, not really great. This guy, again. This one's expression is kind of nice, though. Very bored expression here. I really try and look at this shape formed by the cheek when someone's like smiling or opening their mouth or anything. See, like, you have like a cheek here, and sometimes you don't see this line, which is this line, this S thing here, but it's good to think of it. So the cheek coming forward and it meets with the nose, and so here it tends to get much more bunched up when you open your mouth. So that's just, I don't know, that's a tip for anyone. See here, this thing, this cheek, you have to feel that cheek. I think it's important to get that, because otherwise what happens often is the nose and the cheek and the ear and all that feel like it's on one plane if there's not too much definition, I suppose. Whereas this way it feels like, no, the cheek is in front of the nose. And same with this, right? Like the cheek goes in front. And I think that's good to get. It's good to feel in a side view that there is still dimension. And in a front view, it's important to feel like the nose is way further ahead than the ears, and the ears are further back. You don't want a case where it's like the ears look just on the same, like the entire face is looking forward and everything just looks, like it's pasted on a flat surface. So like, here's an example, right? The nose comes forward, the ears are back. Same with this. The nose is forward, the ears are back. And there's different ways of achieving that. One of the ways is overlapping, like make sure this overlaps this, and then this overlaps, so it shows this is coming more forward. And then here we have this character is similar to the character I did in my Black Sheep animation. And then, I don't know, I think this was a pretty awful day, to be honest. I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't working out. Still trying to get some of these S shapes going on in the character. And here's kind of a very basic, like I draw similar to this and then I flesh it out more, but I thought, okay, I'll just leave it at this unfinished stage just so people can get an idea of what the initial gestures might look like, because they're usually pretty simple, and then you build on top of it, adding the details. So it's pretty much a stick figure, but you can see that there's more to it than just that. And I think when you can draw stick figures and get out of the idea that a stick figure is something very easy, I think it helps in terms of understanding, well, what does this actually mean? Because it's a bit like, you might think of stick figures as the same as happy faces, and it's just, this is simple and nothing, anyone can do it. But I think to maintain proportions, to have gesture, to have the right feeling, sure, it helps that you don't need to know so much anatomy, but it's still not something I think is that easy to do. And here, more characters. I think this one looks pretty cool. I like the angles of things, like you have a lot of straights going on here, the big cheekbones. And I don't know, I was experimenting with what that looks like, and in this case it really didn't work because he's fatter, so you wouldn't see this, but it's pen, so I can't really erase. But yeah, that's a thing. Fatter characters. Trying to see, what do I do with the neck? Do I just sort of flow from the back of the head straight into the neck and then into the shape of the arm? And it seems in this case, yeah, that's one option that works. And this one is one I really like. Again, what I did is basically just really focused on pushing the horizontal, like stretching the face. And this one is stretched more vertically. And then keeping the eyes a bit smaller, but focusing on, a very, like if you look at the silhouette, it's actually really simple. You have this big curve that kind of goes from all the way from here, goes around, and then you just get a little for the nose, and then another, larger area. I suppose this could be more simple, in fact. But those are the things I think about, This one, I don't like the hair, but I do like the face. I think that's pretty interesting. And here, I'm trying to do some stupid neck things, which didn't exactly work. So that's a failed experiment. That's how it makes me laugh. Someone with a big gap in their teeth. This one I think looks pretty nice. I like the proportions. Again, the head is huge. It's, the head's bigger, or almost as big as the rib cage, but whatever, just playing around. This one, it's even skinnier, but so long as you keep everything together in terms of exaggeration, it seems to work pretty fine. So, if the face is going to be exaggerated, then might as well do the same to the body and it will look okay. But if you do like a very cartoony face and then a very realistic body, it looks weird. And if you do a very realistic face and a very cartoony body, it also looks kind of weird. So I find that the more you exaggerate one part, the more you're allowed to exaggerate everything else. So here, I used a different color pen. I think it's called Indigo Black, and it's the same type, like a Uniball 0.38, I believe it is, or I think that's it. Millimeter, I think that's what the 3.8 is. But anyway, gesture stuff. It's pretty nice. Trying to push shapes, see, more horizontal, more like a jelly bean in a way. And then playing around, just different body types, having them wearing underwear or not. Playing around with kids as well. That doesn't sound very good, but this didn't. I wouldn't say this was successful, but trying to, because I like the big hands thing. It's like you add too much muscle and it becomes stupid. It just looks like neither here nor there, like a kid's head stuck on maybe a teenager's body. The shapes I'm using have really deviated quite a bit from the basic oval that you start with. I still do that at times, start with drawing an oval, but sometimes I'll just draw more like a bean shape or irregular shape and use that as a starting point, like something like this, right? And it's not quite an oval, and you get more interesting shapes here. Tried to do some thumbnail composition that's like, I don't really feel like doing these. Over the shoulder views, this one I felt was really bad. This one's still really bad, so it's something I need work on. Not sure about this breast on the form of the rib cage, but at least I'm trying to get more of the volumes down, the volumes of the rib cage and things like that. So here it's more. See, the problem with this to me is that it's very flat. It feels like, that's cartoony and stuff, but it doesn't feel voluminous, volumetric enough. I don't know which word to use, but like this feels more solid than this. And that shouldn't be the case. I need to work on it and improve. But this chest does feel, solid. So that's an improvement. I still feel so far behind some of the artists that I look up to who are like 20 or less, and they're able to do this stuff pretty easily. It feels like so much harder. I like this character quite a lot. Very rounded shapes, big flower. I would call it a cauliflower. Big boobs, and this guy has no eyes, or at least they're all black. This character looks, I don't know, real? Sometimes when you do stupid proportions and when you do exaggerated proportions or different proportions, you end up with, yes, a unique thing, because it seems like, you're just putting things randomly, like a big nose and then small eyes and then high eyebrows. But it always seems to me that it looks like someone I know. Whereas when I just do a very generic face, it doesn't really feel like a person. It just feels like, that's drawing. But not a drawing of a person, just a drawing. Like this to me doesn't feel like a person. But this feels more like a person. This one, kind of. This one, sure, because there's so many V's in this. When I look at this, I think of it the way I see it anyway. I see this chin being like a V shape, right? V, and then mouth, V, nose, V, eyes. If there was like an invisible line connecting them, that would be a V. The eyebrows as well, V. The ears, again, see, V, 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 V. It's like the Final Fantasy IX character. This guy. I don't know. Okay, so here I was thinking of just appealing shapes. I think it's something I'm still struggling with, but it's really important that I figure this out, how to make every shape look good, because it's something Joe Mad can do, and I cannot. So I want to do that. I want to be able to do that. And just a little comic thing, some meteor coming down, punches it. Not very well executed, but I do like this girl. I imagine her being some kind of baseball person, player. I don't know sports. This mask thing, this doesn't feel good in terms of the roundness of this. I feel like that could have been done better to make this more believable. But as far as, it's pen and can't really rework it, it's okay. Playing around with shapes, thinking about, what can I combine? See, so you get the cheek and it goes right into the chin, and then you get the straight that goes all the way back into the back of the head. And I don't know. I don't know if this means anything to anyone, because I talk about this a lot, like even this one. See, you get this rhythm, this flow going down, and then sharp chin, and then goes into the hair. But to me, this is what appeal is based on. Stuff like this, anyway. It's based off a lot of things, but having these rhythmical shapes seems to add a lot, in my view. This is a pretty stiff pose, but just thinking of maybe an office worker, and I think like what's happening, at least in this period, is that there's a lot more that I like on the page than before, and the reason is, or rather what I'm doing differently is I'm just not trying to do anything. Like I won't draw and think, well, I need to work on this or that. A little bit, but usually it's just draw whatever, and whatever comes out is that. But then if I see that I'm struggling with something quite often, then I'll go ahead and do a practice page where I'm thinking, okay, let's work on this now. Let's figure this out. Like this character, very, very rounded though, but that's fine. More open to using different types of shapes wherever necessary. And besides, I could still take this and then make it all pointy if I needed to, but it's not really necessary. And just, continuing on, characters are getting easier to do. Just bodies, anatomy, seems like it's sinking in. Like how some of these this isn't a good example, so it's bad, but as I progress, this is going to be more of a theme, and I like this hair. Very sharp, but I'm not sure this is working. And very, I don't know, I feel like it's really important to be able to get all the minor things, all the shapes working, because if you can reduce things to just very, very basic shapes, then everything's going to look good, even if it's not necessarily correct. I hope it would be more or less correct, but anyway, I think it's super important. So next episode, I'm going to continue on, try and get that rib cage working right, because I'm still not 100% satisfied with it, and I think I do make some progress. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.